Hey everybody, it's Wednesday and it's one of those days. I'm just in great spirits. Woke up, had our men's group again, our men's Bible study, covered Jonah chapter 3, and just a lot of good tidbits in there, and just blessed to be around my guys. And then went to the gym, and I will get to that in a minute as I'm loading up for the sake of time. But it kind of determined my aftershave today. So first I'm using my Nathan Clark 30mm NV white knot. The handle, obviously, the Desert Sunset. Love that brush. I broke out, here's the box, the Vintage Williams for Williams Mug Wednesday. And it's sitting in the Old Spice mug. It's blooming right now. Figure I'm using old school, I'll use a razor that's been kind of hit or miss for me. I've actually given myself my worst cut ever with my 66 Slim. I still have a scar right along there. You'll be able to see it from the time I clipped myself with it pretty good. Actually, I think that was during my first ever video. If you go back and watch it, you'll see it was like a Christmas shave. My aftershave, Tombstone, and I'll explain that here in a second. Go ahead and pour the puck off, or the bloom water off, shake off, and start to load. So I did, like I said, did our men's group, but then the gym, and that was awesome. But I won't get into all that. Just other than to say, check it out. Check out Jonah. Take like all 10 minutes to read the entire book. And then if you like Daniel Fusco, check out him. He's got a series called Rebel, a 4-part series. Awesome. But the gym, got there, and the first part of the workout was establishing a 1-rep clean and split jerk. And I was going, working my way up, and started off at 115, hit it fine. Then I went to 135, hit it, 155, hit it, 175, hit it. And my max clean prior to that it was recorded, I know I can do more, but was 185. And back then I was doing 2 or 3 reps at a time, so I know I can do more. But for me, it's always a transition issue into the jerk, because when I clean, I might only catch it with 2 fingers and still stand up. And I've never been able to, sometimes I'll get 3. So I've always struggled with being able to transition to the jerk. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to try 190. I want to try to get a clean PR. So at least I'll get 1 PR. And then if I get the jerk, great. First time I cleaned it, got the clean, but I only got 2 fingers. And I tried to jerk it, only got up to about eye height, and was done. I'll call that good. Then, kind of step back, talk to my coach a little bit. She kind of, and one of my pastor works out with me. And I started kind of going through some coaching techniques about re-gripping the bar after you get the clean, but basically just doing a little hip pop and then be able to, fully get the bar in my hand to transition to the jerk. So then I was able to re-grip, recoup, and then go for the jerk. So about 2 minutes after I had my first attempt, I went back and got it. So obviously I had PR'd my clean again, or, I got the PR for my clean, but then obviously it's a clean and jerk PR as well. The reason I bring that up is because obviously the Williams was on deck for today anyways. But that inspired the razor, because the razor has been so hit or miss. On the way I look at it, sometimes you got to fail before you succeed. And that's kind of the way I coined today. And then, so figured to pick a razor that's hit or miss for me. And that's definitely it. And then I said, okay, well, what aftershave? I almost went with La Tierra Mojada, because we got another killer monsoonal rain last night. And so I thought, oh man, that'd be perfect. It's very fitting for the weather lately. Woke up this morning, the ground was still really wet. So it had that smell. And I honestly, aftershave wise, I prefer the PAA smell to Chisel Face. One, because it's more of the smell that I get now, but it's also more complex. But I was like, I need a manly scent today. I was like, I just feel so empowered today. You know, I know obviously other guys do things much stronger, you know, that kind of stuff, but it's just one of those days where I just feel testosterone jacked, I guess you could say. And so, what else can you say? Gunpowder. Come on. Gunpowder and leather just makes you feel like a man. So, figured that would be the compliment for the shave. Oh, if you go back at the beginning of this video, you can see what one day's growth looks like for me. But Dieter posted on yesterday's video. He thought it would be interesting if I were to talk about comparing the R1 and S1 yesterday of how the regrowth occurred throughout the day. And I was actually, you know, obviously we all phaster bait, you know, after a good shave. And so throughout the day I was already doing that, but I wasn't really thinking about, oh, I'm going to tell everybody. It was just more just a internal kind of observation. So he mentioned it, and it was 12:30 at night when I read it, or when he posted it. I was just getting ready for bed, being a night shifter. And so that's when I gave it more of a considerable feel, and I felt around, and I gotta be real careful because this is where I've cut myself before. Setting at 3, by the way. Fairly mild. So about midnight or so, so you're talking roughly a 12-hour growth. So half a day's growth, and I felt around, and I once again still felt really no difference. So throughout the day I didn't really notice anything majorly different. I did notice obviously a few spots that when you first finish a shave, when your face is really hydrated and still, you know, everything's really wet, you really miss something. You know, you might feel like, oh, well, you maybe missed a little bit of stubble. I actually had missed a little bit back here, which sometimes happens, but that was more technique, because I actually remember during that shave, I've been missing over here, so I made it a point to hit that a little bit better, but I neglected that side. So it's like I got one spot, but I neglected the other. Obviously not a razor issue, it was more operator error. So that was obviously a little thicker, but no noticeable difference. So I told him I would mention that today. But let me talk about this Williams for a second. Super clean smell. This is a vintage stuff. No real major odor. You know, it's just a very soapy, almost unscented kind of smell. But once again, 30 millimeter knot. Look how much soap is there, guys. That's, I know some people have issues with loading it and all that stuff, and I don't know if that's as so much as the vintage or the new for people, because I've never tried the new. But as you can see, I've never had that problem, and I don't know how much of it is brush selection. Having, you know, too soft of a brush where you're not getting a good pull. So obviously I picked out a brush with a lot of backbone. I almost went with my bore, but honestly, this the Envy White Knot has so much backbone, but still soft. Just a perfect little knot there. I will say this, there's a noticeable difference between the 30 millimeter and the 24 millimeter when it feels to the backbone as well. I honestly feel the 30 has more. It's just it's a denser knot, bigger knot altogether. But it still feels soft. It's got some scritchiness to it, obviously, because of that backbone. A little pokiness to it. But it just feels really, really nice. It's hard to say. I've seen people, some say, you know, there's a poll or a question recently and I didn't answer on it because I saw it, and then when I came back trying to find it, couldn't find it. It was like, oh, what brush would be the one brush that you would, if you could only have one brush kind of deal. That's tough for me because I was even a brush guy. You know, I could have an easier time saying what razor than what brush. It's tough. Part of me would like to say this brush, because honestly, this is my favorite handle. Feel-wise, look-wise, it's awesome. And just it's custom. As much as I love my Brad Sears Fat Arleys, and as much as I love this is, you know, a custom. It's a one-off, you know, so to me I'll call that a custom. And even the Fat Arleys, they're different too. Each one's a little different, but custom designed. And you know, since I played a part in designing the brush I'm using today, it holds a special spot with me. But the knot, if I was to have to pick a knot that I would use day in, day out, it would be the 2-band Finest that's in my Fat Arleys. Tell you why in a sec. Because, you know, if you're, say you have a bad shave or some reaction, you want to be able to go to a softer brush for a few days to give your skin a day's rest. That kind of stuff. Because obviously I have to shave every day. I can't not. It's hard for me to skip because of work. So I need a brush that's a little more gentle. Still has that backbone I like. But it has just a softness to it as well. So I think that one's like the most even. It's got a little bit less of that scritch. Now where I could tweak it, and obviously I could make this brush be my everyday brush, would be to, on the days when you are sensitive, bowl lather with, and this is a good tip I think for anybody, if you have a brush that's a little more aggressive, or a little more backbone intense, bowl lather with it if you have a sensitive area that day, and then just use the tips to paint it on. So now you're not using that scritchiness to hurt yourself. So that obviously would be an option for me as well. Honestly, you can't go wrong with either knot. Forgot about that angle that I wanted to do there. I set it mild on purpose. Normally I do about a 5. Next, I just want to set myself up for success. So I'm going to pause, I'll clean up, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and I'm actually going to alter my aftershave just a hair. I really want a cooling effect today. Do the Cryogen. And while that sits, I'll show you something, and then I'm going to put on the Tombstone. Spraying some Cryogen in my palm. I just want a really good menthol kick today. I was going to use the Integrity Balm. And then I remembered I had this Cryogen sample still. And obviously I know this stuff really packs a punch. You can see I still got about half a bottle left, maybe a little bit more. So still plenty left. But what I wanted to show you while that settles in, just how much lather. I haven't cleaned this yet. I wanted to show you on purpose. That is just a copious amount of really good, well hydrated, maybe a little overhydrated lather. Peaks are falling a little bit, but still very, very nice. Provided me with a quality shave, as you guys can see. No irritation, no issues at all. Plenty of, you know, all around good stuff. And for something vintage like that, I don't know what year this was made, if it even would say on the box, I doubt it. But for vintage stuff that's, you know, nowadays is considered inferior, does just fine. So onto the Tombstone real quick. Load that up. Feel like I just got off of the gun range. I honestly, it's a very distinctive smell. Not going to be for everybody. This is probably something I'm going to use a lot more in the fall and winter, but it just smells distinctive. So I feel manly today, so I'm going to finish manly like that. So God bless everyone. Stay cheerful, and we'll catch you tomorrow for Palmolive Day. It's 2 more days left. I have Old Spice too, but that's a mix, so I'm not going to include that in there. Plus, I've got something different coming up soon. So God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow.